All right, welcome to my 2025 Royal Rumble review. This show took an unexpected turn, several of them, in fact. I was going to get this review up even earlier, but a lot of people were hitting me up to talk to me about this Rumble. Like, there were some really interesting surprises on this Royal Rumble, things that I was certainly not expecting, and obviously not just surprises in the Rumble itself, but the winners were, well, one of them was predictable, one of them was not, and we're going to get to it. So, overall, the show was a bit of a thumbs up. I do want to say I enjoyed the show. The only complaint I really have is that there were a couple of decisions I didn't really like, and a couple of things that were just annoying to me. And also the time between the matches. I know this has been a complaint from a lot of fans, but I think it really hit me here. This show only has 4 matches on it, but right between like the world title ladder match and the Royal Rumble felt like it took forever. But because the pay-per-views are starting at 6 p.m., I think it's probably better to do it that way. It's probably better to do it that way. So that's interesting to me. So let's talk about the Royal Rumble. So they opened it up with Stephanie McMahon, which was interesting because I don't know if y'all have seen, but there's more information coming out about the Janelle Grant lawsuit. And I haven't been able to read it all yet. I've only seen a couple videos on it because I've just had company over and I haven't had time. I've just been hanging out with my friends. Whenever they leave, because they're staying the night with me, I'm going to go look more into it. But she opened the show, welcomed everybody. The Indianapolis Lucas Oil Stadium looked beautiful. 70,000 people is what they announced. It was a great looking stadium. Beautiful, beautiful production on this show, man. Like the lighting, everything just felt great. Now, there's a new thing that they're doing now, and I really like it for the Rumbles, where there's sort of this lower third at the bottom of the screen, like a little text box that tells you how many people are left, what numbers left, how many eliminations, and whenever somebody comes out, it gives you a little factoid about them. You know, like 1 Rumbles on this year, or this number has never won a Rumble, or former blank blank champion. Like, and that was really, really cool. Like, that is more of that Lee-fitting pure sports stuff that I really do like. And I think it really fits with the Royal Rumble. And it's something that really should have been done, I think, in previous years. And they've done similar stuff. But I feel like it's a good idea. It's a very good idea. So we opened up with the Women's Rumble. The surprises of the Rumble were the return of Alexa Bliss. We haven't seen her in 2 years. She's still carrying the doll from the Bray Wyatt gimmick. I really hope that they don't continue that. Don't know if she's going to be in the Wyatt 6, but her stuff was not that great. Jordynne Grace, who has now officially signed with WWE. She obviously came into the company a year ago from TNA as like a one-night sort of, talent trade. Well, TNA and WWE now have a 3-year deal. So we're going to see a lot more things like this. They also brought in Roxanne Perez from NXT. I don't know if you call that a surprise. There were a few NXT women in the match. I was very happy to see Julia and Stephanie Vacour. That was awesome. That was cool seeing them. Again, some pretty cool surprises when it comes to that. Trish Stratus returned. So, really, the Women's Rumble, I thought was a fine Rumble. It wasn't like, I don't think it was the best Royal Rumble ever. For the women, it wasn't like, an incredible, like, nonstop match, but it did tell some pretty good stories. It continued the Bayley and Roxanne Perez feud. It may have started some new feuds as well. Julia and Stephanie Vacour, like I said, I was marking out because they're in the Rumble and these are like big stars. Nia Jax came in and they really built her up as being this monster who could take anybody else out. And then number 30 was Nikki Bella, which was very interesting. I was expecting Becky Lynch. No Becky Lynch on this Royal Rumble. No Becky Lynch. Nikki Bella is not a bad surprise. She came out with the same music and the same outfit and everything, but I think nowadays the women's division's kind of evolved past that. I had some friends that wanted to see AJ Lee, but I don't know if she's ever gonna come back, or at least not anytime soon. So I thought the beginning of the match was like okay, but it did get better near the end. The winner of the Rumble was predictably Charlotte. That's the woman who won the Royal Rumble. She's gonna go on to WrestleMania. This is her second Royal Rumble win. I said this before, but her face, like, it seems like every time Charlotte leaves, she comes back with a new face. Like, she gets plastic surgery done, it seems, because she looks different every time she comes back. But she won the Royal Rumble, and she will presumably be going up against Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania. That's the rumor. The rumor for the other women's title match is supposed to be Rhea Ripley against Bianca Belair, but I wonder, well, where's Jade Cargill fit into all this? And Jade Cargill was not in the Rumble either. So that was interesting. Then we had the 2 out of 3 Falls WWE Tag Team title match. DIY against the Motor City Machine Guns. This match reminded me a lot of the matches DIY would have with the with FTR, the Revival back in the day. Really smooth tag team wrestling, lots of double teams, lots of really well thought out spots. You know, this is the closest you're going to get to like an AEW styled match on this show, and it wasn't like every match was like that. It was just this one. They tie it up 1-1, and what ends up happening is Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, the Street Profits, cost the Motor City Machine Guns the match, and DIY retained. So the Street Profits, who are now heels, will be feuding with the Motor City Machine Guns going forward. Don't know if it'll go into WrestleMania, but that is what happened. I had a feeling DIY was going to retain, but I felt really good for Sabin and Shelley because they got to wrestle in front of the biggest crowd they've ever gotten to wrestle in front of. 70,000 people at Lucas Oil. What a beautiful stadium. It looks kind of weird from the outside, but from the inside, it's beautiful looking. So then we had the ladder match. Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens. This was brutal. I mean, they were busting out things like lots of at one point Kevin Owens hits Cody with a piece of the ladder. They teased the pile driver spots. There were a couple of spots that looked nasty. There was one where Cody did like a backdrop and Kevin Owens landed awkwardly on the top of the ladder, and that was, you know, looked very dangerous. Now, at one point, they do this crazy bump, and what ends up happening is Sami Zayn comes out. So I'm thinking, okay, is he going to get involved in this finish? Like, what's going to happen? He comes out to check on Cody and Kevin because he's friends with both of them. Now, I think where they're going to go with this, and I think that Kevin's going to be pissed off because he's going to be blaming Sami because Sami didn't help him win. So Cody does win the match. And I want to talk about this finish because this finish to me needs to be analyzed, and I think it's an important thing. So they tease Kevin Owens hitting the package pile driver on it. What happens is the ladder's like on a bridge between the apron and the announce table, and they tease Kevin Owens doing the package pile driver. Instead, he gets backdropped through the ladder. Now, this looked brutal, and they played it up like he was really injured. They had the general managers come out. They had the agents come out, the doctors. Kevin Owens was bleeding. I mean, they really built this up like Kevin Owens was severely hurt. Now, when I saw the replay and I paid attention to it, it looked like he was okay. He took a bump on his shoulders and on his upper back, not on his neck, but they played it up like it was his neck. It still looked brutal. Like, I think he's okay, and he made it look very brutal. And when all this was going on, when everybody's on the outside, Cody sneaks back into the ring and climbs up the ladder and wins the title, grabs the belt and retains. Now, what I thought was funny was as he's going up, one of the referees crawls in the ring to hold the ladder to make sure Cody doesn't fall. Now, here's why that's funny. Referees are not supposed to do that. They're not supposed to interfere in a participant climbing a ladder. But what happened was he crawled in and tried to keep low because you see, the idea here was that what he thought is that the hard cam was going to focus just on Cody, and that he would not be caught at the bottom of the screen, right? Like they thought the camera was going to be panned more up to see Cody take the title. What he didn't know is that the actual camera shot was from the wide hard cam that was further back, so you could literally see the referee holding the ladder for him. What they normally would do is, and this is a production mishap, is they would just have the referee sort of hide beneath the range or the viewing, like the sight of the camera. But here, he was right there. He was right there. So Owens gets up and he's all bloodied up. And the one thing I'm thinking of is there is no way that John Cena can beat this man fair and square at WrestleMania, because, and we're going to get to the Rumble in a minute, because this match showed Cody to be a killer. This match, the way that Cody left Kevin Owens covered in blood on his way to the hospital, this was like the end of a feud. This was something that you analyze it and you say, okay, this guy Cody Rhodes is the killer. He just killed this man. He just put this man 6 feet under. I'm not saying he buried him. That is not what I'm saying, because he did not bury him. Kevin Owens had a great match. What happened, though, is Cody showed that he is willing to do what it takes to win, and so he left Kevin Owens in a heap of blood. And to me, that means that whatever ends up happening with Cody, if he's going to lose the title whenever that is, whether it be this year, next year, WrestleMania, or wherever, it's going to have to be to something crazy, because this match did a lot to sort of build up Cody's credibility as being a killer. Like, he really, really, and the match was brutal, man. Like, they really did, like, go out of your way to see this. They really did beat the hell out of each other. So the men's Royal Rumble match, Rey Mysterio number 1, Penta number 2. I loved it. It was great. And I noticed they brought out a lot of the Mexicans early on. Chad Gable was number 3. And then Carmelo Hayes came out. And then Santos Escobar comes out. And it's like, okay, well, interesting. They're doing all the lucha interactions early. They have Otis come in. And then so they do a spot where later in the match, Tozawa's going to go in. But Carmelo Hayes just got eliminated, lays him out. So Triple H takes the streamer, what's the guy's name? I don't know this guy. Like, maybe I should. People think that I should know him, but oh my God, this streamer, the Logan Paul's friend, whatever, he tells him to go inside and take his place. So he ends up going in there. Now, Braun Breaker, this guy was made. I say when it comes to young guys, Braun Breaker and Jacob Fatu, that is a WrestleMania main event of the future. Braun Breaker and Roman, Braun Breaker and Jacob Fatu. These are all massive matches that would easily sell out a building, an arena, or a stadium, because they really did a great job to put Braun Breaker over. He was an absolute monster in this Rumble. There was a spot where they teased Roman spearing Braun, but Braun got him first, and I thought that was really, really well done. And also when Braun speared that streamer guy, dude, he killed him. This dude, then he picked him up and press slammed him over the top to Otis. This dude was destroyed, just utterly destroyed. Roman Reigns came in, I Show Speed, that's his name. Roman Reigns came in at number 16. I thought that was interesting. It was kind of early, but before then, number 15 was Joe Hendry, the TNA champion. Now, I was very happy to see Joe Hendry in this Rumble, but what surprised me the most was the fact that you had 70,000 people chanting, "I believe in Joe Hendry." I don't think Joe Hendry could have ever expected that. I was worried that if they did bring him in here, the fans would not know. Because this is a more casual WWE audience. They're not in their like Chicago market or New York market. It's Indianapolis. And there's good wrestling fans there, but I mean, TNA has been like the number 3 company behind WWE and AEW. Actually, in some ways, maybe even number 4 if you count New Japan in America. It's up to you whether you want to count it or not. But, and you know, TNA does not have the eyeballs that AEW and WWE do, but yet they knew. They chanted, "I believe in Joe Hendry." It was phenomenal. So Roman comes in. They tease Roman and Braun Breaker and Roman and Jacob Fatu. There was a lot of great interactions here. At one point, Drew McIntyre comes in, and he's got history with with Roman, and then him and Fatu beat him up. Jey Uso comes in. Nakamura was in there. AJ Styles returned. I was surprised that he's healthy again. Strowman, also, after being destroyed last week at Saturday Night's main event, I really thought he was going to be gone for some time, but he came in, he picked up Jacob Fatu and threw him out. So that means that the Braun Strowman Jacob Fatu feud will continue. I thought it was done for now, but no, it will continue. John Cena winning at number 23, and then CM Punk at 24. And it was great because they're all staring at each other, right? Cena, Roman, and Punk, and they're not making a move, right? Then I was with my friends and I go, Seth is next. Bam, Seth comes in. So you've got Seth Rollins, John Cena, CM Punk, Roman Reigns. Tons of history with these four guys. All kinds of different intertwining storylines. All kinds of different feuds going back years, even over a decade. Don't forget Drew McIntyre's in there, Jey Uso. The thing that Triple H done a great job of doing since he took over creative is creating all these story threads and having all these characters have history with each other. Sami Zayn, like all these guys have like a history, and that makes things very interesting. So, Sami Zayn was 27. I think LA Knight was after him. Sami Zayn didn't really last very long. And then Logan Paul was number 30. Now, at one point, I thought that Rock was going to come in as 31 and kind of like, screw over everybody else. But that's not what they did. Now, this was all great drama, but I'm thinking, please don't let John Cena win. I already said I don't want to see Cena and Cody. I'm not interested in that. They're not doing, well, they might still do Cena and Cody. They might, but Cena will have to win the chamber. So what was cool was that basically Roman and Seth are about to go out, and then Punk throws Roman and Seth out, and then Logan Paul throws Punk out. And then on the outside, there's like a three-way brawl where Seth hits a curb stomp on Roman, and I'm like, wait a minute, is he turning heel? Are we witnessing a Seth Rollins heel turn now? He's crashing out like Drew McIntyre. He's lost it, right? So that was really interesting. Now I'm starting to think, so we had heard that Punk versus Roman was one of the WrestleMania matches, but it looks like, again, based purely on what they did here, because they had this big pull-apart brawl, like this big one. It looks like they might do Seth versus Roman versus Punk in a three-way, and there's a lot of history there. So the final two were Cena and Jey Uso. They teased a lot. I like John Cena. I love the guy. I want him to have a great retirement tour, but I do not want him and Cody unless they do that finish I came up with in a previous video, which I will link to you at the end of this one. Make sure you watch that video so you understand. And so they really teased that Cena was going to get his ass. He gets him up in the F5 on the apron, or the FU, I'm sorry, the AA, whatever. Jay slips out behind and shoves Cena, and he gets eliminated. Jey Uso has won the 2025 Royal Rumble. They had fireworks. Cena came in the ring and shook his hand. He did the yeet thing. This was completely unexpected. I thought for certain it would be either Cena, Roman, or Punk. One of those three. And my prediction was Punk. That was my prediction. That's not what they did. But they went with Jey Uso, a young guy, a guy who's getting more and more over. However, it's also a guy who just lost to Gunther a week ago. So I do wonder if this is the last minute decision or not, but he did win the Royal Rumble. So it'll be Jey Uso against either Cody or Gunther at WrestleMania if Gunther keeps the title. I just saw Jey and Gunther a week ago, and it was a good match. Personally, I don't know which match I prefer because Jey Uso and Cody could tell a really good story as well. See, there's still a lot left because we have the Elimination Chamber, and Cena could win that. And if he does, he might go after Cody still. We'll see. But they did a great job of kind of fooling people into thinking Cena was a shoo-in to win when he actually didn't win. So happy to see Joe Henry. A little bit of a letdown. We didn't see Josh Alexander or some other NXT guys. No Oba Femi, no Ethan Page. But the Rumble was fine. I would have actually preferred an Obafemi or one of those guys to like the streamer dude or Otis or you know what I mean? Like these characters, I know you have to balance things out, but like they don't really do anything for me. Like they're not, they're not that credible, and I feel like bringing in somebody from the outside is more effective in my opinion. So the show was good. I'm not saying the show was bad at all. Very interesting surprise with Jey Uso winning. He's on his way. He's a main eventer now, but he's on his way to possibly becoming a world champion by defeating Cody or by defeating Gunther, depending on who he picks. If Gunther's even still the champion, because for all intents and purposes, they might move the title over to Punk or Roman or like you don't know. We don't know. Seth could beat him. It could be a three with those guys. Like there's a lot of possibilities. Let me know in the comments if you think that Seth turned heel. I am curious. Also, I forgot to mention Finn Balor came out, and I think he had new music. I did not recognize it. It doesn't really fit with him. He did fine, but nothing, out of this world. Penta was super over. Ray and Penta opening it was great. Chad Gable hit this crazy German on Otis. Oh man, there was a lot of stuff that I remember that was good stuff. But the drama was the big one. So Punk, once again, is not going to get his wish. At least doesn't seem like it. We'll see what happens in the coming weeks because WrestleMania is, I think, 77 days away. So I enjoyed the show. What did you think? Let me know in the comments, and we will talk about it. Take care. See you guys tomorrow.